Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play with AK, featuring me, your host Akukami. In this StarCraft 2 episode, we'll be taking a look at a game I played on ladder. This is going to be a TVP matchup on Tal'Darim altar. Starting off in the 5 o'clock position is me, spawning as the red Terran player. Meanwhile, my opponent, bigbizze, has spawned in the 8 o'clock position as the blue Protoss player. If I remember correctly, in this game there are a lot of macroing periods going on, so I'll just be skipping through that. Actually, let's skip through a bit of this, because in this game I do go for a 1 Rax gasless expand. And okay, remembering to wall off, I wall off the entrance to the front of my base. Supply depot here, Rax here, supply depot there. Meanwhile, my opponent back at his base has gone with his first pylon, and will be placing his gateways down soon, and also sending his probe scout in the wrong direction. Going to be scouting me in the clockwise position, I believe. Yes, he's going to be scouting me in the wrong direction. Coming out with that first gateway and first gas, and meanwhile I send out my own SCV scout, going to be scouting him also in the wrong direction. Whoa, what did I do there? Why did I cancel that? Canceling my supply depot and repositioning it, I guess. Meanwhile, my opponent's scouting probe will be met by my guarding marine and will be shooting it down. Poof! And starting to build my expansion at my natural. Meanwhile, my SCV scout still not at my opponent's base yet. My opponent has come down with that cybernetics core and his first gas and is researching warp gate, and I will slow down right here. Coming out with a second gas and another gateway. Meanwhile, back at my base, coming out with a bunker at the front of my natural, going to be guarding against that early stalker aggression. Coming on down with 2 more racks after my initial racks, and where's my gas? Did I forget to put gas in this game? Well, anyways, putting a scouting supply depot here just to look for any warp prism drops. Meanwhile, my SCV scout will be trying frantically to escape my opponent's base, but will fail miserably. Coming out with 2 more gateways in my opponent's base. Meanwhile, back at my base, not saturating my expansion yet. I am so terrible doing that. And changing my command center into an orbital. Meanwhile, no gas still at my base. What's going on here? Why don't I build one? Well, anyways, meanwhile, my opponent has decided to go for an expansion of his own, and I believe this is one of those macroing periods, so just speed through it a little bit. Coming out with a second bunker in the front of my base for that extra protection. Meanwhile, my opponent changing his gateway to a warp gate, and I scout this out that he has 3 gate, and I assume at this point that this is all he has. Chrono boosting out some more forces and just guarding the front of his natural. Meanwhile, back at my base, finally completing my orbital command and saturating my well, not really saturating yet, and saturating my natural a little bit, and coming out with a coming out with a 3rd command center at my 2nd expansion and 2 more gas, followed by a 4th Rax, and I will slow this down a little bit. Well, actually macroing well, and yeah, just taking a look back into my opponent's base, building that robotics facility, probably going to be upgrading to well, Colossi, of course. Forgot what that was at the moment. Coming out with a 3rd bunker in the front of my base, and my opponent is moving out, taking control of the center of the map, and probably will be pushing into my natural pretty soon. Meanwhile, coming out with 3 tech labs at the front of my base, researching on my racks, I should say, excuse me, coming out with that stim research and combat shield, and changing my command center into an orbital, my 3rd command center an orbital. Wow, I normally build a reactor first on one of my first 3 Raxes, but in this game I decided not to, coming out with 2 more racks instead. And here comes my opponent engaging first with those with those zealots, with that surround by his sentries, that force fields surrounding my bunker so I can't repair it. Doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing to my other two bunkers, but managing to force his aggression back, warping in some more reinforcements, but I think this should be able to hold that aggression off successfully. Not building anything else, just continuing to macro up. Meanwhile, I've forced my opponent back and he's retreating, and I scout out this pylon and we'll be shooting that down soon and sometime in the near future. Meanwhile, my opponent is, well, trying to macro up, as I am too, coming out with more pylons and a Twilight Council and another gateway, and coming out with the finishing level level 1 weapon upgrade. Meanwhile, my opponent trying to take control of the center of the map again, deciding not to for some reason. Bringing all my marines out of my bunkers and going to be shooting down these destructible rocks so I can move my command center to this location to start mining from that location. Meanwhile, my opponent with his probe going to be, I think he's going to be building, yes, going to be building his expansion over there in that location, hidden expansion. I should probably send out a scout in future games, especially on Tal'Darim altar, because it's really large and I keep forgetting to scout. Taking down these destructible rocks, getting ready to move my orbital to that location. Meanwhile, coming out with 2 engineering bays for that 1-1 upgrade. And yeah, just macroing up some more. Let's speed through this. My opponent gets a good scout out with his observer of my base, noticing that I took down those destructible rocks, and seeing that I already have my 3rd orbital built, and just checking the front of his base to see what kind of forces this has, moving my own marines to the front of the center between our 2 bases and taking map control. Meanwhile, not salvaging these bunkers, because I probably should be doing that. Managing to take down the rocks here and start saturating this location. Meanwhile, I'm going for my 1-1 upgrades with my 2 engineering bays, and I already have my armory up for future upgrades. And my opponent gets another scout of my base, full scout of my base, coming out with some more forces in the middle of my map, just trying to take center hold of this location, because I'm expecting some more pressure, and I just want to drive him back with sheer amount of forces, taking down that zealot trying to take control of the watchtower. Yeah, against this man of marines, I don't think so. And building building a factory and a starport, putting reactors on both of them. I don't know why, but coming out with 2 medevacs, I assume, in the near future. Meanwhile, my opponent has gone for that robotics bay. Why didn't he build a Colossus first? Oh well, whatever. Finally getting out that first Colossus, and I will slow things down a little bit right now. Scouting out that he has, did I scout it out? Yes, scouting out that he has his robotics facility up and running. I decide to put down my 2nd starport and start building some Vikings. Meanwhile, just taking center hold of the place of the Zelnaga watchtower between our 2 bases. Meanwhile, setting out my factory scout to scout out what he has. And my opponent is already 2-1 in upgrades, while I am 1-1 in upgrades. But in the meantime, coming out with 2 command centers back at my base, followed by some missile turrets to shoot down any observers. Probably a little bit late, but coming out with my first 2 Vikings, and throwing some SCVs into my ball just so I can free up some supply for my army. Scanning the front of his base, checking out his forces, and deciding to stem up and run and engage. As you can see here, my micro is non-existent. It is horrible. It is definitely horrible. And as you can see here, I lose a lot of my forces simply because I'm not microing back and my units are being trapped. And this one Colossus, oh my goodness, taking down the majority of my forces, having his reinforcing Colossus coming back and pushing away my own aggression. Ugh, I should do better for that. Actually, what I should have done was wait for my 2-2 upgrades to finish, because he's only 2-1. Huh. Oh well, maybe I should wait for that next time I engage. Forgetting to move my factor away from his forces, and forgetting to move that medevac away. Meanwhile, my opponent is building his fourth base, third expansion, and shooting down my medevac that was there. And forgetting to re-rally my units to this watchtower here, but instead deciding to engage my opponent after getting a scan in the front of his base, realizing that he has nothing left in the front of his base, or nothing built I should say, running up, stimming up, and just taking down whatever forces he had there. Going to be taking down this Colossus, and yeah, I think this is game. He doesn't have any reinforcing units, and I take down his expansion here. He only has 2 stalkers, 2-2 stalkers, but my units are also 2-2, and after taking down his expansion, that was game. In this game, I went for fast third base, which allowed me to replenish my army after I lost that huge engagement at the front of my opponent's base. I almost lost the game because of this one poor engagement at the front of my opponent's base. Poor for me, of course. I just stim in, and I don't do any kind of microing. I don't micro back. I engage him at a choke point, and I almost lost the match because of my lack of micro. And I probably should have waited at this point for my 2-2 upgrades to finish, because he just about obliterated everything I had. Even though I did win the game, this almost cost me the matchup. Fortunately for me, my opponent did not build enough production facilities, and because of this was not able to replenish his forces faster, because he simply didn't have the production to do so. If he had more production facilities, he would have been able to reproduce his army faster and be able to hold off my second wave of aggression. And I think that's what mainly cost him the game, simply not having enough production facilities to replenish his army. And as you can see, by the time the game is done, he had a lot of minerals. He obviously could have built more production facilities with that money in the bank, but he chose not to. Well everyone, that wraps it up for this game. Please subscribe to my channel if you would like to see some more content and videos from me. Also, thumbs up and like this video. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again on another episode of Let's Play with AK.